Hello and welcome to the Ilene Silverman Show. I'm your host, Ilene, and on this week's program, Brian Jos, Director of University of Florida Performing Arts, discusses the upcoming 2018-2019 season, the role the arts play in the University of Florida and our entire community. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for our program. I'm very pleased to introduce my guest, Brian Jos, Director, University of Florida Performing Arts. And Brian, it is wonderful to have you here.
Ilene, it's my pleasure.
Well, thank you. I'm delighted because I always look forward to going and attending the performances at the Phillips Center, the other venues, and I was privileged to be in the audience for the preview, the unveiling of the 2018-2019 season. It's hard to look ahead so far, isn't it? But it's among us. It's upon us right now. And it was wonderful. Your knowledge of the upcoming season, the season's guide, the excitement that you generated about what we can look forward to. I congratulate you on it.
Well, thank you. It was a wonderful night, and it's one of my favorite nights of the year because I get to highlight all my children, if you will. 45 upcoming performances that we've spent a long time curating, pulling together, and I'm glad you had a great time because it was a wonderful evening to me as well.
And you have affection for all the performers. You can see you're definitely invested in it. And just to help everyone understand, Brian, explain the four venues of what makes up University of Florida Performing Arts.
And the one that probably most people are familiar with is the Phillips Center.
Right.
And inside the Phillips Center we have two theaters. The one we call the main stage, which is about 1,750 seats. Big theater. I mean, this is one of the finest theaters in the country. I don't want to get too technical, but it's a large stage, a huge fly space, which is the area above the stage that allows sets to come in and out. And then we have the Squitieri Studio Theatre, which is about 200 seats. It's a black box, very flexible.
Right. Intimate.
Right.
Different.
And then something that people may not be familiar with is our new upstage venue, which is in the Phillips Center. The entire audience sits on the stage. We try to emulate the great jazz clubs of New York, like Birdland or the Village Vanguard, where you're seated at tables very close to the performer. There's food and drink. It's a casual atmosphere, and they've been wildly successful.
So, and you've increased the number of offerings upstage this coming season.
We had 4 this past season. Next season we'll have 8 evenings. And going beyond jazz, we'll have bluegrass, Americana, gospel, indie rock. So get a little bit of everything.
A lot of choices and 2 performances a night.
Right, 7 o'clock and a 9 o'clock set, just like you're in the big city.
That's what I was going to say. Very New York. Very New York.
I should mention University Auditorium is one of our other venues. 800 seats. If you haven't been in there before, the original church on campus has soaring ceilings. Really
beautiful, yes.
Right.
And as a little girl, that is where I attended most performances before the Phillips Center was part of what we do, yes.
And we also have the Baughman Center, which is a meditation chapel on Lake Alice. We don't do many performances there. It's mostly for weddings and for memorial services and other gatherings.
Right,
Beautiful space.
It is indeed a beautiful space.
Right.
And this and so then your explanation that night, the preview night, you were explaining the concept of University of Florida being a research one university and how that affects the season and what happens here.
As you know, University of Florida is one of the top 10 universities in the country and is a Research One university, meaning that the university does stellar research and really pushes the envelope. And of course, that means something to UFPA. If we're going to be part of a Research One campus, we need to do two things. We need to honor the past and embrace the future. And what that means to me is that we need to put on our stages the work of the great canons, the European canon, the Asian canon, the African canon, the canon of the Americas, those works that have come about over 2,000 years.
Right.
Those need to be on our stage. Equally important, though, is embracing the future. New artists, new art forms, new way to engage with those art forms.
Yes.
AR, VR, all these changes that are going to come down the road. We want to be leaders in that area, just like the rest of the university with its experimentation and invention. That's what we do at UFPA.
It makes, you know what? It makes perfect sense. And Brian, you are doing that. And the new season upon us is a wonderful example. We are going to take a quick break and have so much more to talk about. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking about the University of Florida Performing Arts with director Brian Jos. And Brian, I'm getting more and more excited the more we talk about the new season. But for the performing arts, it's not just what you see on stage. There's a lot going on, sort of behind the scenes,
That's right.
but expand that. Tell us about the outreach opportunities you provide.
That's exactly right. We call them Residency and Outreach, and that is to oversimplify everything that happens beyond the stage. Everything that happens beyond 7:30 p.m. on Friday night.
Okay.
So in classrooms, this might be K through 12 classrooms.
Yes.
It might be a chemistry class on campus, or philosophy, or psychiatry, or it might be with UF Health, or it might be with a hospice, whatever it is. But it's a ways that our artists engage beyond the stage with our community or with students. I think it's so vital that they share their creativity, their viewpoint. I mean, we're bringing 45 artists from around the world. It would be a loss to me not to share that experience off of the stage.
And as you've talked about, some of these are newer artists. They're learning themselves.
Right.
They're moving forward. They're introducing us through you to new forms of art. So yet to not have the conversation would be a loss. But it takes a lot of coordination. It takes support. community support.
And to me, that's some of the most important work that we do. Think about it. You know this. Schools are not able to offer performance and engagement like they used to.
Right.
So it's our job to put artists in those schools.
It is.
And it changes kids' lives. I'm here to tell you.
It does.
Folks like Russ and Brenda Robinson and Drummond Bank, they put their money behind this. They support it because they know if children don't get it from us, they're probably not going to get it.
Exactly. And the
even
hope
college
is,
students.
Right.
It's important that someone in physics or chemistry has exposure to creativity.
Exactly.
That idea of STEM is fine, but STEAM with the arts included is even better.
It creates for a more well-rounded individual, and without the arts, we're just a poor community.
That's right.
But it is true, if you grow up and you're able to go to performances, live performances, to me, the most exciting thing there is to do. It becomes part of your life, but sadly, that's not the same for everybody, for every household. So it's up to you, to us, to make it so.
I couldn't agree more. Attendance is a behavior. And I'll tell anyone that will listen to me, our competition at UFPA isn't the Hippodrome or up at Santa Fe or Van York or any of those. It's the couch and it's Netflix.
Yes.
All due respect, we're on TV right now.
No, I understand.
But it's important that
yeah.
people get out and experience performance because then they'll attend for the rest of their lives.
You've got to set the habit, make the pattern.
That's right. So to me, one of the things we need to grow for UFPA is the attendance of people between the ages of 25 and 54. We have a nice slice of attendance that are students, and we have a nice slice of attendance that's above 55. But we're not really pulling people in like we should. So that's why we're changing our offerings. There's more indie rock, there's more work that I think will appeal to people 25 to 54, and we do it on the weekends.
Oh, I definitely noticed. So you're giving them Friday and Saturday nights.
Right. If you have kids, it's hard to make a Tuesday night.
It is.
But a Friday or Saturday, that's doable. That's what we're aiming for.
So you're able to let them shift their priorities. So art becomes a priority, and when kids receive that art too in the schools, they go home and share with their families, with their siblings, and it just all starts to move that art opportunity forward.
You nailed it. That's exactly right.
Well, I just think it is so important, and you were bringing such wonderful artists, and you did quickly, to go back to last season, you had a wonderful opportunity with Arts and Medicine here.
Oh, right.
That was very meaningful, the mushroom cure.
Right. Adam Strauss, stand-up comedian by trade, has a performance called The Mushroom Cure, which was about his battle with it. He's very open about obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, and his journey for a cure. The show's called The Mushroom Cure, and part of his time here, he worked with Arts and Medicine, Jeff Pufall and Kimberly Smith, and they ended working with Dr. Carol Matthews from UF Health, and they ended up having 15 patients with a diagnosis of OCD tell their story, and they worked longitudinally over 10 weeks. They worked with Adam and Jeff and Kimberly to tell that story, which culminated in a performance which was filled. I got the last seat in the place.
I love it, right.
I thought I had pull. Right, and now that piece is going to the International OCD Conference in Washington, D.C. next month and will impact lives around the globe. That's the kind of work we're talking about.
Yes, well done. I love hearing that and knowing that it's happening right here in our community.
Right.
We're going to take another break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking about the University of Florida Performing Arts. And Brian, when you go through the season guide, you can't help but notice the diversity of performers and the diversity of performances. I mean, there is such a variety in there. I don't even know how you get all of that together. I mean, what a huge effort to plan a season.
That's right. And we call ourselves a multidisciplinary presenter. What that means is we present all different types of art forms and all different types of artists. So in music, yes, classical chamber, world music, indie rock, jazz, hip hop, you name it, gospel. In theater, we have traditional theater, contemporary theater, physical theater, musical theater. And in dance, you have balletic dance, you have ethnic dance, you have social dance and contemporary. So, the point being, there's something for everybody in here.
Yes.
And
there's got to be.
To me, I implore people, just try one. If you haven't come, I know that you want to. So try one performance and see what it's like. What's that experience like to come to the Phillips Center or to come to UA or to come to the Upstage and have that moment with a performer where everything else falls away and you become one in that moment.
Yes.
It's special. And
it is.
And that's why we offer so many types of performance so that folks can choose something that really appeals to them.
And then once, I know you agree, and everyone and your wonderful staff, once they get through those doors, if it's the Phillips Center, for example, and sit in that seat, and they become one with the experience.
That's right.
They will be back.
I think you're right.
I think that's the goal.
That's right. And the goal is that we make it a welcoming environment.
You do.
I want people to sit down and know that this place is for them.
Yes. You're standing there, the ushers are handing you the program, you can read about it, everybody's talking and waving and enjoying. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a real community spirit when you attend.
Agreed.
And it's something that people look forward to. And and we were talking about, tickets going on sale June 23rd.
That's right.
You make it easy calling the box office.
Or online.
Yes. Right.
We don't have a host of crazy fees or anything. Again, the idea is that it's welcoming and easy to do. So any of our performances will be available on the 23rd. I hope folks will choose just one. And student tickets are only $10.
Right. I mean, you make that very affordable.
Again, it's about learning to attend performance. We need to make it easy.
Yes, I agree. And I know you have affiliate levels where people, go above and beyond if that's what they're capable of being able to offer and if that's what they believe in. But all of those things kind of help make it just work out for everybody. And you are, as you said, a welcoming facility. You have your wheelchair accessible.
We also have we also are able to do for hearing impaired.
Exactly.
We can do sign language. All of those things again to make it for everyone.
Exactly that, and that goes back to art being for everyone in this community. Mm-hmm. And okay, so tease us just a little bit about some of the things that we would be looking. You have a lot of guitar, I noticed.
Yeah. So an exploration of the guitar and like string instruments, including the mandolin and ukulele next year. But yeah, so Chris Thiele is one. You probably know him from Prairie Home Companion. He's off and on. Now he is the host. Took over for Garrison Keillor live from here. One of the great musicians. He'll be here in October.
Right.
We have Lulo Reinhardt, the grandnephew of the great Django Reinhardt guitarist. So if you have someone in your life who likes the guitar, next season is filled with opportunities.
Right. And there's another good option when we think about purchasing tickets. Think about making them a gift, which I've done before. Mm-hmm. My nephew loves jazz. Wonderful, holiday gift. These are all ways that then you can bring other members of your family in to a place that you enjoy so much.
I think a performance that's upcoming is the season opener, Tomasz Kubenik.
Oh, yes.
He is
He is
a clown, and I mean that not in the sense, but he is a clown physical theater. He is so funny. One of the quickest wits I've ever seen. He does some of the most amazing outreach, which we talked about earlier.
Wow.
That's a performance for all ages. It's not for kids. It is for age 10 to 100. You'll fall in love with Tomasz.
And that's going to be
Genius.
the season opener. So,
Right.
yes. So that's something to put on everyone's calendar. And we're going to take another quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're talking with Director Brian Jos about the University of Florida Performing Arts and the new season, 2018-2019. Brian, a great collaboration with the Florida Museum of Natural History.
This is something we haven't tried before. We're doing 3 performances called National Geographic Live, which will feature National Geographic photographers and researchers talking about subjects, of course, that tie into the museum, but about birds of paradise. We'll also be doing Trail of Big Cats, Tigers, and Under the Sea. They'll all be fabulous, but it's something we haven't tried, so it'll be a great way to connect nature with performance.
Yes, I'm a board member with on the associate board for the Florida Museum, so I'm very glad to see the warm association, the collaboration. I love that word, collaboration, and you do that with many.
It means something very important to us.
Yes, and and then we cannot be a performing arts season without Broadway musical style theater.
So we have 4 big Broadway shows coming: The King and I, Spam-A-Lot. Right?
Yes.
The Body Python piece is hilarious. The Sound of Music, the classic.
Another classic.
And Finding Neverland, the Peter Pan story.
Yes. That's my favorite, performances to attend. So you always satisfy. And it doesn't matter if I've seen The Sound of Music before. I love it. Every time.
Big production.
And this King and I performance was, I think, Tony Award winning for revival at Lincoln Center. Yes. And who could not love that musical score? It's wonderful. And then that leads us, then you've got symphony orchestras coming.
We have 3 orchestras, and with their soloists. And we have that brand new Steinway 9-foot concert D pianist. This thing's a race car. So if you want to hear piano the way it's meant to sound, those are the ones.
Okay, now, once again, you've rocked it. Capitol Steps.
Oh, yeah.
Coming here.
That's one of Michael Blachly, my predecessor, started a great tradition of bringing the Capitol Steps the night before the midterm and the presidential election. Every performing arts center in the country wants them. We're the only one that has them. And so, night before the election, the equal opportunity satirists of the left and the right.
And it is always packed.
Oh,
yes, it's always on our calendar. But, that is something to cherish because they're here
They're
in Gainesville,
here.
Florida, and they could be anywhere around
Anywhere.
the country.
That's right.
I love that. And then there's still, of course, a number of musical performances, dance of different variety. I'm a dancer, so I always look forward to that.
Right.
But then there were things you talked about in the season's guide, and so pull out some of those. You call it a wild card.
Oh, my
what
wild
would you
card.
tell me about?
My wild, something that you may not be familiar with, but I say try it. Just
Right.
try it. Is a really powerful piece of theater called Mercy Killers. It's one of the great pieces of acting. An actor named Michael Milligan. It's a story that all of us will deal with sometime in our life. Someone close to us will become very ill. And how do we handle that? And it's not a good or bad about hospitals or insurance or doctors or patients. It's just reality. And so one of the things that theater can teach us is how to be prepared for moments. And I think Mercy Killers gives us a grounding of what decisions will I make when someone really close to me is near death?
Right.
What can I do? And I know that sounds heavy,
No,
but I'm
because
here
it
to
will
tell
start
you
a conversation.
it will. It is one of the most powerful pieces of theater I've ever seen.
Yes, and sadly it touches everybody at
Right.
one time or another. And we only have just about another minute or so. So what would you like to say to the audience for the University of Florida Performing Arts?
I'll tell anyone that will listen to me that Gainesville punches way above its weight culturally. We have amenities, performances, museums, live music venues that cities 10 times our size, 20 times our size can't rival. We are blessed here. Get out and enjoy it because this is special and we are lucky.
Oh, thank you. I agree. And thank you, Brian, and your wife, Patty, moving to Gainesville and being a part of our cultural community and your leadership for University of Florida Performing Arts. And we look forward to the 2018-2019 season. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Ilene.
My pleasure. And I'm so glad you tuned in, and I hope you will join us next week. Take care.